Hello, you wonderful people. It's British English teacher Roy here. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever thought, I understand English, but would I really understand people in a natural conversation? Or if I need to say the word sheet of paper, will somebody laugh? And are you scared of certain other words in case they sound rude? Well, in this lesson, you're going to learn the differences between some of the most commonly confused words and sounds in British English. You'll learn how to say them correctly and what might or might not be going wrong, and you'll get to practice each sound, and I will even test you. And I'll say about the test, during the test, I will move to the center of the screen. It's not teleportation, it's not magic, it's just the power of editing at the end. And you can let me know during the test how well you do in the comments. And if you want to learn even more about this lesson, you can download a free PDF in the description. But hello, you wonderful people. My name is British English teacher Roy, as I've said at the start, and welcome to English Right Now. Now, I've been a teacher of English for around 16 years, and over that time, I've helped thousands of learners from all over the world, just like you, understanding British pronunciation in a modern British RP accent, British English, slang, idioms, and even talking about the culture. And sometimes certain words or sounds can get pretty confusing. And that's what we're going to be talking about, so you never make those horrible, awkward mistakes in the future. And before we get going, please do remember to like and hype this video, as it really helps other learners across the world to see this lesson. So how is this lesson going to work? Well, I'm going to tell you pairs of words, minimal pairs. We'll talk about what that means in a moment. And these words will be completely out of context at first. And your job is not to analyze them. It's just to notice that these two words feel different. And then we're going to talk about what really is the difference. So for each minimal pair, we're going to do a few things. First of all, I will tell you the words so you can listen to the difference. And then we'll get you to repeat. After that, I will use them in a sentence so you can hear them in context. And finally, for each minimal pair, there will be a test. And I'd love to know how well you do in the comments. And before we begin, what are minimal pairs? Well, fundamentally, they are a pair of words which are almost the same except for one sound. Now, that could be a consonant sound, for example, rice and lice. That's one sound different. One has the sound and one has the l sound. Or it could be a vowel sound. For example, bad and bard. So it's one sound different and the rest of the sounds are the same. So for example, boat and mode would not be a minimal pair because they have two sounds different. One has a b and a t and the other has a m and a d. They are different words. But minimal pairs have one sound different, and that sound, as I say, could be a vowel sound or a consonant sound, and it could be at the start of the word in the initial position. For example, witch and rich. It could be in the middle of the word, for example, mad and mod, or it could be at the end of the word, for example, bat and bad. And I will also say that not everyone has the same issues. A lot of it depends on what your first language is. So for example, some people may find rain and lane tricky, while others may find it easy, whereas others may find hot and hut more confusing. I remember once on social media, I put out a post on minimal pairs, and somebody said, well, I suppose this is tricky for someone. That's exactly right. Obviously not for them, but it was for another learner. And before we get started, I will say that all of these words that I'm about to pronounce are in a modern British RP accent. And there are lots of accents across the UK, but I focus on teaching a modern British RP accent because that's my accent. But these words may be pronounced differently in some parts of the country. So let's begin. And first up, we have these two words, ship and sheep. The first word, ship, which goes on water, has that short I vowel sound, whereas the word sheep, which is the animal that goes meh, has the longer E sound. So we have I as in ship and E as in sheep. Now, not only is the E sound a little bit longer, it's got that double dot. Both of the sounds, the tip of the tongue needs to be towards the front top of the mouth, but the E sound in sheep is slightly further forward towards the teeth. So it's I, E, ship, sheep. Listen to the difference. So we have ship, sheep, ship, sheep, ship, sheep. So repeat after me. Ship. Sheep. Ship. Sheep. Ship. Sheep. Now, as I say, I'm going to test you in a moment, but these two sounds are the reason people panic when they say a word like beach, that they're going to say bitch, and they even get worried about the word sheet when they're asking for a sheet of paper. So let me give you an example sentence before I test you. The ship is leaving the harbour. The ship is leaving the harbour. And the sheep are in the field. The sheep are in the field. If both of those sound completely different to your ears, then that's excellent listening. And I will also say you should be recording yourself on your phones and listening back to make sure you can hear the difference between ship and sheep. And now it's time for the test, and I'm going to teleport. Okay, it's not something out of Star Trek, but it is the power of editing. So what I want you to do in this test is listen for which of the two words I'm saying. Does it have the I vowel sound or the E vowel sound? Here's the first one. Grin. Grin. I said this one. Grin. This is green. Grin. Green. What about this one? Eel. Eel. I said this one. Eel. This is ill. Ill. Eel. Ill. Eel. What about this one? Leak. Leak. I said this one. Leak. This is lick. Lick. Leak. Lick. Leak. And how about this one? Risen. Risen. I said this one. Risen with that I vowel sound. This is reason. Risen. Reason. Risen. Reason. You can let me know how well you did out of 4 in the comments between I and E. Next up, we have these two sounds that appear in the words cap and cup. So we have the A sound in cap and the sound in cup. For the A sound, the tip of the tongue needs to be forwards and down towards the front of the mouth, but not completely down. It's not ah, it's ah. It's like kind of at the base of the bottom teeth. And the sound is slightly further back. So listen to the difference. We have cap, cup. Cap, cup. Did you catch the difference? We have the A in cap and in cup. So repeat after me. Cap. Cup. Cap. Cup. Cap. Cup. So let me put them in a sentence so you can really hear the difference. Put your cap on. Put your cap on. Or, would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a cup of tea? It's all about where you put the tongue, the tip of the tongue in the mouth when you're making these sounds. Make sure the A sound in cap is slightly further forward and the is more in the bottom middle of the mouth. But now it's time for a test. Which of the two words am I saying? Hat. Hat. I said hat. This is hut. Hat, hut. Hat, hut. What about now? Ran. Ran. I said this one. Ran. This is run. Ran, run. Ran, run. What about now? Badge. Badge. I said this one. Badge. This is budge. Badge, budge. Badge, budge. And finally, uncle. Uncle. I said this one. Uncle. This is ankle. Uncle, ankle. Uncle, ankle. And you can let me know how well you did in the test in the comments below. Did you get 4 out of 4 when the A versus sound? But now we have the two sounds that appear in these two words. Cot, the O in cot, and the O in coat. The O sound is a really important sound in a modern British RP accent, and it's actually an example of a diphthong. So you need to move your mouth when making that sound, O, whereas the O vowel sound is a monophthong vowel sound where the tip of the tongue is more towards the rear of your mouth. O, O. So, listen to the difference. Cot, coat, cot, coat. So, repeat after me. Cot, coat, cot, coat, cot, coat. In fact, both of these sounds are really important in a modern British RP accent because that O vowel sound doesn't really appear in general American pronunciation. The difference here is they're kind of short O vowel sound and a longer gliding O sound, where it moves from the middle of the mouth more up. O. Let me give you a couple of example sentences before we do the test. The baby is sleeping in the cot. Cot is a type of baby's bed. The baby is sleeping in the cot. Take your coat, it's freezing. Take your coat, it's freezing. So now it's time for the test. Which one am I saying? Own. Own. I'm saying this one. This is own, whereas this is on. Own, on. Own, on. What about now? Mop. Mop. I said this one. Mop. This is mope. Mop, mope. Mop, mope. And now we have sock. Sock. I said this one. Sock. This is soak. Sock, soak. Sock, soak. And finally, we have cloak. Cloak. I said this one. Cloak. This is cloak and this is clock. Cloak, clock. Cloak, clock. And I'm back from teleporting to the middle of the screen. You can let me know how well you did out of 4 in that section. And also let me know which sounds are the ones you most commonly confuse. But now we have 2 commonly confused sounds, and they're both long vowel sounds. We have the in first, first, and the in fast, Notice the tip of the tongue for the sound in first is more in the center of the mouth, whereas the sound is towards the bottom and back of the mouth. So we have first, fast, first, fast. Repeat after me. First, fast, first, fast, first, fast. Couple of example sentences before we do the test. He finished first. He ran fast. Sounds like a connection there. He finished first. He ran fast. So now there's time for that test. So which of the 2 words am I saying this time? Hurt. Hurt. I said this one. Hurt. This is heart. Hurt, heart. And now, hard. Hard. I said hard. This is heard. Hard, heard. Hard, heard. What about now? Burn. Burn. I said burn. This is burn. Barn. Burn. Barn. And finally, we have star. Star. I said this one. Star. This is stir. Star, stir. Star, stir. Okay, again, let me know how well you did. If you found that one tricky, let me know as well. But now it's time for another minimal pair using the R vowel sound, but this time we're comparing it with the A vowel sound. A lot of students get these 2 confused. So in the word cat, we have the A vowel sound. Again, bottom front, we've already talked about this. And in the word cart, we have the long R vowel sound. So we have cat, cart, cat, cart. Repeat after me. Cat, cart, cat, cart, cat, cart. Example sentence: the dog likes the cat. The dog likes the cat. It may sound like a strange sentence, but my dog actually does like cats. She doesn't like dogs, which is a bit weird. And for the cart one, the horse pulls a cart. The horse pulls a cart. So we have the dog likes the cat and the horse pulls a cart. Now it's time for a test. And here I am back in the middle of the screen. Which one am I saying? Harm. Harm. I said this one. Harm. This is ham. Harm, ham. Harm, ham. Next we have bad. Bad. I said this one. Bad. This is bard. Bad, bard. Bad, bard. We sometimes refer to Shakespeare as the bard. Next we have bark. Bark. I said this one. Bark. Did you get it right? Bark. This is back. Bark, back. Bark, back. And finally, carp. Carp. I said this one, the type of fish. Carp. This is cap. Carp, cap. Carp, cap. This minimal pair was actually used in a really classic advert. It is the th sound, like the unvoiced th sound where we put the tip of our tongue on our top teeth, and the s sound. So the key here is if you want to say the th sound, we need to see a little bit of tongue right at the front. Thin, sin. Thin, sin. S, th, s. So let's look at those two words. And for each of these minimal pairs, you really need to be looking at the shape of my mouth. And this one is the first example of a different consonant sound. So we have thin, sin. Thin, sin. Repeat after me. Thin, sin. Thin, sin. Thin, sin. If the tip of your tongue isn't touching your teeth, your top teeth, then you're not going to make the right sound for thin, and we're going to have what are you thinking about instead of what are you thinking about, and that's a real reference to that advert. Couple of sentences. He's very thin. He's very thin. That's a serious sin. That's a serious sin. So the difference isn't just sound. If you don't put your mouth in the correct position, then these two sounds aren't going to work. But now it's time for a test. Let me know which one of the two I'm saying. Gross. Gross. I said this one. Gross with that s sound. This is growth. Gross, growth. Gross, growth. Now which one am I saying? Sank. Sank. I said this one. The ship sank. Sank. This is thank. Remember to look at the tip of my tongue on my teeth. Thank. Sank, thank. Sank, thank. And now, thorn. Thorn. I said this one. Thorn. This is sawn. Thorn, sawn. Thorn, sawn. And finally, we have another one in the final position. Faith. Faith. I said this one. Faith. Whereas this one is face. Faith, face. Faith, face. Let me know in the comments below how well you did there. And this one is now looking at the voiced th, the th sound. So we just had the unvoiced th, and now we've got the voiced th, then. And quite commonly, a lot of learners confuse it with the d sound, like in the word den. So we have then and den. The main difference, again, for that voiced th sound in the word then, you need to be touching your top teeth with the tip of your tongue, whereas the d sound is more inside the mouth, and the tip of the tongue is touching the roof of the mouth, right at the front, and then dropping down. Den. So listen to this. Then, den. Then, den. Let's repeat that together. Then. Den. Then. Den. then, then. Let me give you an example sentence before the test. We'll eat dinner and then we'll leave. We'll eat dinner and then we'll leave. Versus the fox went back to its den. The fox went back to its den. A den is a kind of home for the fox. If you can hear the difference clearly, you're doing very, very well. And as a side note, when I'm recording these lessons on YouTube, I actually record the audio and the visuals separately. So they've got the video and the audio. And to help me find out where the video and the audio link up, I often clap at the start of the video. And it's a really good thing that I just mentioned this because I actually realized I forgot to do that at the start of this video. But if I do forget, and then I get into the editing process, I actually use the TH sounds to show me where the sound and the video sync up. And that's because I can see the tip of my tongue like this, think or then, when I say a word using the TH sound. So actually I can really use that movement of my mouth to sync the audio if I forget to clap. But now it's time for that test. Tell me which ones of these two I'm saying. Day. Day. I said this one. Day with that D sound. This is they. Day, they. Day, they. Next up we have breed. Breed. I said this one. Breed. This is breathe. Breathe. So we have breed and breathe. Breed, breathe. Now, worthy. Worthy. I said this one. Worthy. Worthy. This is wordy. Wordy. Worthy, wordy. Worthy, wordy. And finally, southern. Southern. I said this one. Southern. This is sudden. Southern, sudden. Southern, sudden. These two sounds can be really confusing for some learners. Like I say, they're not going to be difficult for every learner, but these two could trick you if you come from a certain language, a certain first language. So we have the V sound in vest and the W sound in west. So the V sound like in vest needs to touch the top teeth on that bottom lip. V, vest. Whereas the W sound in west doesn't involve the teeth at all. So we have the west. I always compare my mouth to looking a bit like a cat's bum. I mean, in that, sound, not in general. West. So we have vest and west. Listen to the difference. Vest, west. Vest, west. The key difference is getting your teeth involved for the V sound. Repeat after me. Vest. West. Vest. West. Vest. West. And now it's time for the test. Let me know which ones I'm saying of these two. Vine. Vine. I said this one. Vine. This is wine. Vine, wine. Vine, wine. Now we have wane. Wane. I said this one. Wane, using that W sound. This is vein. Wane, vein. Wane, vein. Next we have versed. Versed. I said this one. Versed. This is worst. So we have versed and worst. Versed and worst. And finally, whale. Whale. I said this one. Whale. The animal that lives in the ocean. Whale. Whereas this is veil. Whale, veil. Whale, veil. Okay, let me know how well you did. Did you get all 4 right? And now it's time for the versus l sound. So the sound is a sound we hear in the word arrive. Arrive, whereas the l sound is the same sound we hear in the word alive. Now, one key note about the sound. A lot of learners, if they do have this sound in their first language, they often trill it and make it sound more like arrive or even arrive with that kind of sound. But for us, it's quite a weak sound in my opinion. It's a sound. Arrive. arrive. So my name, for example, is not Roy or Roy. It is Roy. So it's Roy. And the key difference to getting the L sound right, if you do have problems with this sound, is that the tip of the tongue doesn't touch the roof of the mouth. In fact, the sides of the tongue are more up, tucked into the teeth, whereas the L sound, like in the word alive, the tip of the tongue touches that hard bit just behind the top teeth and then drops down into the vowel sound. So it is alive, alive. So listen to the difference. We have arrive, alive, arrive, alive. Repeat after me. Arrive, alive, arrive, alive, arrive, alive. And a couple of sentences before we do the test. It is, what time will he arrive? What time will he arrive? And the monster is alive. The monster is alive. These are two words you really don't want to mix up. But now it's time for the test. So which one am I saying now? Glass. Glass. I said this one. Glass. This is grass in a modern British RP accent. Glass, grass. Glass, grass. Next, we have right. Right. I said this one. Right. This is light. Right, light. Right, light. Next, we have lace. Lace. Is this one. Lace. This is race. Lace, race. Lace, race. And finally, one that could cause quite a bit of confusion and a bit of embarrassment, to be honest, for some people. We have lice. Lice. I said this one. Lice. This is rice. This is something you eat. This is a horrible, horrible creature. Lice, rice. Lice, rice. And now let's move on to two more consonant sounds. It's the B in berry, which is a plosive sound, a bilabial plosive, B, berry, and that V sound again, very. You can let me know which sounds again are the most confusing or the most troublesome or the ones that you hate the most in the comments below. But we have berry and very. Again, the difference is for the B sound, we must close our lips like this, B, 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 and the V sound, the teeth are involved, like we explained before. So listen to the difference. Berry, very. Berry, very. Okay, repeat after me. Berry, very. Berry, very. Berry, very. So, a couple of sentences before the test. I picked a berry from the bush. I picked a berry from the bush. That was very kind of you. That was very kind of you. The difference is lips for the berry and the teeth for the very. And now it's time for the test. Again, let me know how you did. Which of the two did I say? Boat. Boat. I said this one. Boat, the thing that goes on the water. This is vote. Boat, vote. Boat, vote. And now which one am I saying? Bet. Bet. I said bet. This is vet. Bet, vet. Bet, vet. Remember to look at my teeth. If the teeth are involved, it's a V sound. Or if the lips are closing, it's a B sound. Next we have vein. Vein. I said this one. Vein. This is bane. Vein, bane. Vein, bane. And now, vile. Vile. I said this one. Vile. This is bile. Vile, bile. Vile, bile. Really practice these sounds. You should be recording yourself and listening back. And also, you should be really looking in a mirror to make sure you're putting your mouth in the correct position. And another thing, if most of those pairs, when I say them, sound very different to you, it's great because it means that you're picking up the difference. But if a few of those pairs still feel tricky, that's normal. It takes time to practice them because you need to be practicing this over and over again. It's honestly about putting your mouth, your jaw, and your tongue in the right position and also using your vocal cords when you need to. Please do remember to like and hype this video as it really helps the video to be seen by other learners. And if you enjoyed this kind of listening and speaking practice and you want to train your ears and your pronunciation together, that's exactly the kind of work we do inside my course, the Ultimate British Pronunciation Guide. But for now, what I will say is if you can hear the differences, well done. And it's all about getting your mouth in the right position. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson.